Hey there. I heard a chemistry joke that made me helium, helium, helium a little the other day. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the precipitation. Oof. Now that we've bonded over that horrible pun, let's talk about recrystallization. Previously, I thought recrystallization was using the superglue to reassemble Mum's favourite crystal vase that I may or may not have kicked a footy into one day after school. Recrystallization is actually a laboratory technique for the purifying of solid organic compounds using solvents. Also known as fractional crystallization, the purification occurs after a heated solvent solution containing a dissolved solid is then allowed to slowly cool with the highest purity of the compound, hopefully forming crystals. Throughout this short video, we aim to demonstrate how increased temperature raises solvent solubility significantly. Try saying that 3 times fast. And how the supersaturated solution becomes less soluble as it cools, creating the crystals we seek. This brings me back to my precipitation joke, if you can even call it that. Precipitation is the biggest potential drawback to this process. If errors are made in the cooling process, such as it being too rapid, multiple compounds may form a precipitate rather than a single compound pure crystal. And let's face it, no one wants a precipitation trophy.
Thanks, Shane. I did have a little helium, helium, helium at your jokes there. As Shane has described, recrystallization is the removal of impurities to obtain an organic compound in its pure form. There are a variety of industries that use this technique, which include, but are not limited to, the food industry, such as purification of salt from seawater, and the production of rock candy, an older and very popular sweet confectionery. The industrial industry, such as mining, where metal compounds are removed from their natural formation, ore. And the most common industries where this is used is the pharmaceutical industry. Let's look at the process in depth to gain a better understanding. As discussed, recrystallization is a solvent-based purification process where the solid compound is dissolved in a suitable solvent to separate the impure compound into free-moving particles within the solution. It is important that the solvent does not react with the compound. It must dissolve the solute well when hot, but not when cold. Have a boiling point below the compound's melting point, be volatile for easy drying, and be safe, non-toxic, and affordable. Next, we must dissolve the impure compound in a small amount of hot solvent. As you can see from our example, the cold solution is insufficient to dissolve the compound in its entirety. Next is the filtration step, where insoluble impurities are removed by filtering the hot solution. This leaves behind only the solvent and our dissolved solute. As the solution cools, crystals develop as similar molecules bond together to create a pure solid compound. The final step in recrystallization is isolation, where the pure crystals are separated from the remaining solution. These pure organic compounds are then dried, which leave our finishing product.
The results and outcomes of recrystallization should include 4 things. Purity, where we should see the compound in a purer state as the impurities are removed. The crystalline form should show well-formed crystals, which help the structural integrity. We should see improved properties such as solubility, melting point, and colour. And we should see a high-quality sample that is suitable for further research.
Finally, we come down to the part of conclusion. Firstly, purity of crystals. Upon the recrystallization process, the recrystallized salt appeared more pure as compared to the original sample. Secondly, the formation of crystals. By maintaining the appropriate conditions for the experiment, salt crystals came out well defined. Now, thirdly, the actual yield of recrystallized salt may have been reduced due to filtration and transfer process involved in the experiment. Finally, this experiment concludes that recrystallization is a simple yet very effective method for purifying salt.